Hey gals and guys, it's your host Phil Larson, and this is Your Motivational High 5 on Rewiring Your Brain, Part 2. Let's do this. Here we are, and thank you for joining me for Part 2 of this episode 15. If you haven't yet gotten a chance to listen to Part 1, stop right now and go back just one episode. Dr. William Ranahan is adding scientific terms and explanations to what I talked about in episode 1. I'm curious to hear what you think. Go to thestoryshop.tv/podcast or email me at phil@thestoryshop.tv. Dr. Ranahan is someone who's making waves in the area of molecular cell biology. And he's devoted a lot of his life to breast cancer research. You're going to want to remember his name. He's a professor at ORU, and he's been published in several journals. And here we are to the second part of Rewiring Your Brain.
So we've recently discovered that new connections can be made, which can significantly change the way your brain is wired. And what is perhaps the most shocking is how those new connections can be made. The process of making the new connections in the brain requires a tremendous amount of energy. When you're very, very little, that's the time where you're making the most connections in your brain, which is why babies just sleep all the time. Almost all their energy is going up to their brain to make these new connections. So it's a very energy-intensive process. We just didn't think that adults, by and large, were able to do that, to put that much energy into that process. But it does happen. And it happens when two people sit down and open up. When people enter transparent community, where they are open and they're honest and they're present and they're vulnerable, when they do this, their brains light up. Anybody that's involved in that process, their brains will light up. The amount of electrical and chemical activity skyrockets. And it's in that moment that there's enough energy to make new connections. So we have this two-pronged approach to completely rewiring your brain. One, because they're not physically connected, these neurons can be uncoupled simply by not doing the same habit. And then two, we can make new connections in the brain if we are willing to be seen, to be known, to be in community, and find people that we can be open and honest and vulnerable with. That will enact enough energy up to the brain to have new connections made between these neurons. And you very literally can rewire your brain.
So in part 1, we talked about uncoupling the bad connections, the bad habits. And here we're talking about new connections. And I love the ability that we have to do that, and how that happens is through vulnerability, is through opening up. That not only are we creating connections biologically on a nano level, but we are also literally connecting, creating relational connections. And through that, we can shoot up to the brain enough energy to forge new ways and new paths. And we do that by sharing life with others. We do that by allowing others to speak into our lives and us taking the initiative to speak into theirs. This is why it's so important to surround yourself with healthy community, to surround yourself with people who are going to be life-giving and people who are going to be safe with your secrets and help you hash out the things that you are trying to process. And so when we surround ourselves with people who are not safe people, are not kind people, are not healthy people for you, you are quite literally allowing damage to be done to your brain. And sure, that damage can be reversed, but the more damage you do, the more difficult it will be to reverse. So think about the people in your lives. Who are you allowing a voice and quite literally health into your brain? Do you care about your mental health? This is important. This is the bread and butter of this podcast. And hopefully the voice that I add is a healthy voice for your life, but I can't be it. You need to cut out the bad ones. You need to invite the good ones. And maybe you're saying, Phil, I know some people who are struggling in my life and I can be that healthy voice for them. Good, do that. But you need more coming in than going out, or else you won't have anything to give. And so here we go. At the end of our podcast, we rewire our brains by telling ourselves healthy things, by listening to healthy voices. And ultimately, it does start with you deciding to allow these healthy voices in enough until you begin to believe them. And so the voice we are going to add to our lives today is in a form of a mantra that you are going to find a reflection of yourself and say to yourself. And this is today's mantra. I can invite healthy vulnerability and create new connections. Again, the question we have to answer is, how much do we care about our mental health? You brush your teeth every day, I hope. What are you doing to clear your mind and to clean it of the junk and to add nourishment to it? Are you doing that every day? Teeth are important, yes, but compared to the mind, put what's most important first. Take care of yourselves because it starts with you.